Spurge here, and in this video we're going to break down the new Shark Skwal i3 LED helmet. So this is going to be replacing the Skwal 2, and while this is a very popular helmet in Shark's line, it was due for an update. Really what you're going to see with the i3, in addition to some of the other changes that we'll walk through, is that this version is now getting an accelerometer to monitor the LEDs that are built in. So there's three different modes still. You can turn it on, you can turn it to flashing, or you can just leave it off. If you leave it in the off mode, it will activate under deceleration. So that's where the accelerometer comes into play. In all three modes as well, the brake light will flash. So that is the main change over what is a very popular helmet within Shark's line. Popular because it's one of the fewest helmets, if not the only helmet in the market that we're aware of, that has the LEDs built right in. So $360, this is going to be roughly a $70 price increase over the previous Skwal 2. If that is too steep for you, you're not really interested in the LEDs, but you like the function of the helmet itself, you could check out the D-Skwal. The D-Skwal is the same helmet, just doesn't have the LED integration. That's coming in around the $250 price point. So let's start by walking through exactly what you can expect top to bottom. So the shell construction on this is a Lexan polycarb. Lexan is just a higher end polycarb, has a bit more flex to help with absorption in the event of a crash. Sizes will range from an extra small up to a 2XL. And then there's two different shell size breakdowns with this. So the first shell size will run from extra small to medium, and then the second shell size will run from large up to 2XL. You're looking at a helmet that is DOT only, and it's going to be 3 pounds 10 ounces in a medium. That is roughly down 1 ounce over its predecessor. So it's great to see that they are able to add the accelerometer in here, but you're not going to see an increase in weight, whereas in fact Shark has managed to shave a little bit of weight off when comparing like sizes. Intermediate oval fit. If you're not sure what we're talking about when fitting a helmet, make sure you check out our How to Size and Buy a Helmet guide, where we walk through the difference in head shape. So this is going to be an intermediate oval fit. A little bit longer front to back, a little bit narrowed on the side of the head, and this should work for the majority of riders in the American market. Again, if you're not sure what we're talking about, make sure you check out our helmet sizing video. So, starting with the front and working our way through. The vents have changed a little bit. Still just going to be a vent at the front chin to the face shield. So would love to have seen some actual front vents incorporated into this. As it stands right now, if you open the vents, it pushes air through from the top and just goes down and in to help from fogging with this. But the face shield itself does come pin lock ready, and there is a pin lock insert included in the box for the Skwal i3. So what has changed with the face shield? The mechanism to get it on and off. So you still have the drop down there. The one thing I'll note, because I need to get this out of the way, really great drop-down sun visor on this, full coverage, not any real space. So if you're somebody that likes using a drop-down sun visor, this one works really well for you. To activate it, there is a switch on the back, and you can see very smooth, no detents. It's all the way down or all the way up. You can kind of put it in a different position if you want it to go not down as far, and it holds pretty well there, but some manufacturers will have different level of detents along the way. This is just one smooth actuation. So back to the face shield. The face shield on this, like I said, pin lock ready, pin lock insert included in the box. But what has changed is the way to get it on and off. So now what you have is these two little plastic buttons on either side. You have to push both the buttons in simultaneously, and you can see it undoes that little snap, and then you just rotate the face shield back and off. That's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. Only concern here is whether or not these little plastic tabs will wear out over time. Obviously, we would need to test this for a lot longer to be able to determine that, but just a very simple system, not hard to use, very easy to swap shields if you want to go with a different face shield on this. So, taking a look at the top, single vent at the top, you have a open close. Would have liked maybe a little bit more kind of tension built into the vent on the top, just to give it a little bit more of a streamlined, or a little bit more of a actuated feel, like it is open, it is closed. As it sits right now, it's just very smooth in its operation. The spoiler around the back has been redesigned slightly, and this is where you're gonna get the LEDs baked in here. So let's go ahead and turn the system on. You can power it on. As you hit the button, you can see it flash on. It is now on. Even though the LEDs and the brake light are not activated, it will activate under deceleration. If you hit it again, now the 4 LEDs stay on in the front and the red LED stays on in the back. Hit it one more time and it goes into flash mode, and it's just a regular steady flash. So the one thing I'll say here is that if you're riding at night, the steady flash mode can be a little bit distracting in the front with the way that the lights bounce off of the dash at times, depending on what motorcycle you have. But again, that's going to vary based on rider and rider preference and what you can tolerate from the nighttime. So if I go to turn it off, 3, 4, flash 4 times. So that gives you a battery indicator when you're powering down. So you push the button in to hold it to power it down, and you count how many strobes. 4 strobes is 100% battery, 3 strobes 75%, 2 strobes 50%, 1 strobe or one little flash is 25%. Typically, Shark is claiming roughly 12 hours of use for a 3-hour charge. It does go into standby mode after a minute or two if you're not using it, if it doesn't detect any motion, and then I think after like 72 hours it'll power itself down. I don't know who, I guess that's more about like if you set your helmet down and you forget to power it off, after 72 hours of no movement detection, it will power itself down. Now, the one nitpick I'll throw in here is that the accelerometer, while it's a nice addition, is not nearly as advanced as some of the stuff that we're seeing in, let's say, like airbag technology, right? So it is sometimes a little bit harder to actuate. It really only actuates under really aggressive heavy braking. So from an emergency standpoint, it does a good job of just making sure it's strobing that brake light if you are coming on the brakes pretty aggressively. But under more mild braking conditions, you're probably not going to notice it. So if you are somebody that wants to just use the light for awareness as extra visibility, that's where either leaving it on or putting it in a strobe mode is still going to be your best bet. And in both strobe mode and in the steady mode, it will still flash the brake light under heavy deceleration. So let's move to the inside. So the first thing you'll note is the zipper along the back. If you open this up, the charge is a USB-C charge. Again, roughly around 3 hours for a full 12-hour charge on that if you're leaving the LEDs on the full time. That will tuck away nicely. Little zipper on the back. Plenty of padding. Depending on where you kind of place the wire, you can feel that at times. So just make sure you're getting it to a place where it's tucked away and it's not putting undue pressure in the back of your head. Chin curtain is included, is removable if you want to, but I like it. It's flexible. Some chin curtains, they have a tendency to fall out or pop out too easily, or they're too hard to get in and out. I find that this one feels very comfortable, easy in, easy out, and it helps to block a little bit of that wind coming from underneath. Now the one note here, and it's more of something to be mindful for, maybe a light critique, is that there's a little bit of Velcro on the top of the cheek pad in addition to snaps. Very easy in, very easy out, as you saw, but the male Velcro is on the inside of the helmet. So if you don't line this up perfectly, that male Velcro can actually start to rub against your face a little bit. So the note here is when you're removing the cheek pads or placing the cheek pads back in, make sure you align the Velcro correctly. Would have been nice if the male Velcro would have been on the cheek pad itself, leaving the softer female Velcro on the actual helmet. You are getting speaker cutouts, very deep speaker cutouts. There's a little foam pad in there, but these are probably some of the deepest speaker cutouts that we have seen from a manufacturer. Very comfortable if you are using comm systems. No built-in or integrated comm systems. That's where you're getting the built-in LED system, and if you want to add a comm system, you just add a universal comm to the helmet. Nice contour to the cheek pad itself. Very comfortable. Again, the only real note or slight criticism on there is it would have been nice to have seen the female Velcro on the helmet side. Snapping out, no real concerns or issues here. Easy in, easy out, and you can see here, this is where the battery system comes into play. So you need to kind of unwind or undo the battery system from the helmet itself if you're going to take this out and wash it. And you can see the battery pack kind of fits in nicely into the back of the helmet. So just have to stuff all of that back in if you're taking the liner out to clean it. Now the one thing to note here, there is a bit of adjustment. There's a little morpho pad in this back little sleeve. So what this does is it gives you a little bit of pressure at the back of the head if you want a little bit more of an aggressive tight fit. If you don't, You can pull this out. That just comes right out, and it just gives you extra room at the back of the head to add a little bit more comfort. If you're someone that has a little bit more of a long oval head shape to yourself, you can fine tune the fit a little bit, buy yourself a little bit of room at the back, and it actually helps to stop with a little bit of front pressure as well. No snaps at the front, just a traditional brow mount. Very simple system, but also very comfortable, and I like the added addition of being able to adjust some of the foam padding at the back. And you can see here, it's really not too complex once you pull the wires out of the helmet to get this out to be able to wash it. Taking a look just at the inside for a moment, you can see the channeled cutouts for the ventilation system. Goes back, you got those active vents at the top and then down to the passive vents at the back. So if you're keeping score, I think my nitpicks would have been a little bit better ventilation at the chin would have been nice. I think that the accelerometer, while it's a step in the right direction, I still wouldn't rely on it. You know, in regular braking conditions, that's where I'd probably just leave the LEDs on and just use that accelerometer to help flash the brake light under aggressive braking. And then, again, probably my most minor nitpick of all of them is that it would have been nice to have the female Velcro on the helmet itself and the male Velcro on the cheek pad, just in case you don't line that up perfectly, a little bit of discomfort. But overall, nice iteration with the Skwal i3 over the Skwal 2. Like I said, if you're not interested in the LED function of this, you could look at all the same features that we discussed, and that would be the D-Skwal for around the $250 price point. But for considering this is pretty much the only, if not one of the only, LED built-in helmets out in the market, it's become a very popular helmet from Shark for folks out there that do spend more time riding at night, that want that extra visibility, even riding during the day a little bit. It just helps to give you that extra pop of visibility to help keep you safe. Now, if you want more information on this helmet, you can check out what other riders have to say by clicking the info button on your desktop or mobile device. That'll take you over to the Skwal i3 LED landing page where you can read other rider reviews, get all the nitty-gritty details. And if you're still not sure as to which helmet is right for you and your riding style, you can always reach out to one of our customer service reps and they can walk you through all the different helmets available to make sure you find the right helmet to match up with your budget as well as your riding style. I want to thank you for joining us for that. I want to thank you for joining us for this look at the Shark Skwal i3 LED helmet. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.